Alrighty, peeps, I'm back. Cam BxNy here. You. Oh, jeez, come on, come on. Freaking tractor trailer holding me up over here. Yeah, but oh yeah. So in my last video, I showed you guys my light bars. Let me tell you a cool story about that. I am like addicted to shopping on eBay and Amazon. I love saving money. And with these two light bars, I saved. Typically these light bars, I got two 52-inch light bars, curved, and typically these types of light bars for this length of 52 inches, they're usually like 250, 300 around there. I managed to score both of them on Amazon Prime Day for a total of $100. It was like $98, but for both light bars I got them for $98. How awesome is that? Man, I love saving. Yeah, so let's see what else can I talk about. Oh, I also mentioned that my background is in theater production. I'll talk a little bit about that. So I went to college in Manhattan, and originally I wanted to go to college to become a music teacher. So I had studied music in middle school, high school, and then by the time I got to college, was a whole different ballpark. Alright, let me tell you. So middle school, my middle school band performed at a high school level. I went to a public middle school. Listen, for all you people out there that maybe you are parents now and you're living in New York City. Listen, New York City public education is awesome. Like, these people, these educators, man, they taught me a lot. A lot of people, they get the sense that when they start having kids, that they want to save up to move to a nice white neighborhood outside of New York City, whether that be Westchester County, upstate New York, or a different state. Let me tell you something. The people that I went to school with that ended up going to high school, whether it be upstate or Connecticut or Jersey, whatever, let me tell you something. They move out into the suburbs, and these suburban kids, they have nothing to do but to experiment with drugs and alcohol, and they start messing up their lives, you know. So think about that, you know. If you have a family and you want to do what's right for your family, I'm not saying that moving to the suburbs is bad, but it's also not all what it's hyped up to be, you know. But anyway, middle school, performed at a high school level. Then I went to a private Catholic school in the South Bronx, and the school band over there performed at a middle school level. It was like terrible. I was like the best. I was so bored in class, I ended up being the class clown. I would come to class with a universal TV remote, and I would turn the TV on in class, and I would flick through the channels and stuff, and people had no idea it was me. But yeah, I was messing around. In my high school, my senior year in high school, the band teacher said, "Oh, so you want to be a music teacher? All right, well," I talked to the principal, and we agreed to let you teach beginner band class. And that was pretty funny, because my peers, they didn't like that I was teaching them, you know. And let me tell you something. by this time in high school, I had already performed in Carnegie Hall about 6 times. I had already gone on tour, performing with a drum corps. You know, like, I got some notches on my belt, you know, to get to that level to teach a beginner band class in only my senior year in high school. Well, I had some hecklers, and they were heckling other kids that I was showing specific attention to, so I could help fine-tune some things that they were playing. And they would heckle them, and I would stand up for them. I would say, whoa, 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 excuse me, what are you doing laughing at them? You're not any better. Like, you're in beginner band class because you suck, you know, like, let's be real. I'm here teaching you guys because I have experience. Don't knock this dude down because he made a mistake. Don't do that. It's messed up. Let's all work together here. Well, anyway, so I got to college, and college was really rough on me, like, for 2 reasons. There was a math requirement that I couldn't get around, that I needed to be in the education program. I worked like 3 years hardcore on this. I got tutoring per semester. So 3 years, that's 6 times I went to tutoring to try to get around this math requirement, so I could get into the math class that I'm supposed to be in and pass the math class, and then go into the education system. Then, as far as the music theory was just way too theoretical for me. It was way hard. Like, I missed out on a lot of things that I should have learned back in high school. Like chords and the circle of fifths, and I didn't know any of this stuff because my musical background up to this point was cultivated in trumpet, playing one note at a time. I didn't play piano, I didn't play guitar. I did play guitar, I taught myself, learning tablature. That's just basically, it's just cheating, you know. They show you how to play the fingering, but they don't show you the actual notes and what the name of the chord is, you know. So anyway, so music theory was just way too theoretical for me. I wasn't getting it. I was falling behind on my homework. This was really stupid, but I was actually paying off an old friend of mine's to do my homework that I was falling behind on. And it was stupid because like I was working full time. That was the reason why I was falling behind. I was paying off a friend to do my music theory homework, and I wasn't retaining any of that knowledge. So I came to the self-realization that, like, yo, like, I can't do this, like, because at some point I'm gonna have to take a test that qualifies me to be a teacher in music. So I have to prove that I know my music theory, and I can't fake that, you know. So, and plus, I was never good at sight reading music, sheet music. For 8 years, 8 to 10, 12 years probably of my musical career was based on me practicing the music from the sheet paper, for the sheet music, practicing it, memorizing it, and then by the time the performance came about, I would play off of memory and not having to read the sheet music. Now that's a gift, but sadly that's not really a gift that takes you far, because you know, I had a lot of my peers that when performance day came about and it was time to play and they lost their sheet music, I'm like, don't you just know it already? And they're like, nah, I don't know it. Like, I need the sheet music. And I'm like, geez Louise, like, sucks to be you. But knowing music by memory, like, doesn't get you far. It doesn't, obviously it doesn't let you become a music teacher, you know. It's not enough to pass the exams and, you know, move on to become a teacher. Being a teacher in New York City is terrible. Like, as for what I hear, it's terrible. But like, terrible pay. But my mentor in life was my middle school band teacher, and he was awesome. He had the weekends off. He played with his own band. He taught at my school. He made a little extra money on the side in school as a substitute teacher. And then he also taught during the summer, earning some extra cash there. He also taught a concert band called All Borough in the Bronx. In New York City, we have this thing. It's kind of like the after-school program, but it's not really after school. It's on Saturday mornings, where we get, as musicians, we get to play with our peers from other schools nearby, and we have the Bronx All Borough. I mean, we have the All Borough band, and then we have the citywide, which was like everybody from New York City would go travel to like Manhattan and play with a bigger band. And I played for the Bronx All Borough band. My band teacher taught there, and he made extra money there. And this guy, he probably had like 2 cars. He had a house. He had a family, a wife and kids and stuff. I'm like, man, I want to be just like this guy. You know, I want to be able to rock out during the summer and on weekends and play with my own band and still hold down a career, you know. But it didn't quite work out for me that way. When I got to college, music theory was too theoretical for me. I wasn't getting it, so I decided to switch my major to something that I found that I could easily make a transition into, which was theater production. In theater production, the curriculum was pretty wide. It was pretty general. I learned a little bit of acting, screen acting, stage acting, method acting. I learned a bit about script writing, costume design, and theater production, which was setting the stage, building a set. I actually did some carpentry. I did lighting, hanging. I was up on a scissor lift or a ladder, setting up these directional lights on a lighting grid, probably like 15-20 feet up in the air. It's scary. Like, I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm also very uneasy with heights. But you know, when you're doing that job for a little while, like, you have to find your own comfort zone. And what I did was I got up way up on top of the ladder, so I made sure if I was gonna slip off the ladder, I had a good grasp on the lighting grid, so I could hang on and hook my arm over. So it wasn't all that scary. But yeah, that's my background in theater production. It was cool. I liked it. But here's where it takes a turn. I worked in the restaurant business for 10 years, 10 plus years. And by the time I graduated college, I really didn't want to go into the theater business at all. And I'll tell you why. Because working in the restaurant business, you had to work nights and weekends. That's where you made all the money. Now, in theater, all the theater work is nights and weekends. Not totally, because I bet like set design, that's during the daytime, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to be there as a stagehand for nights and weekends. And I wasted most of my 20s in the restaurant business, nights and weekends, and I'm like, oh my god, I just want to do regular, normal things like young people do. You know, I want to go out. I want to go out to the movies. Go out to the movies. I want to go out to concerts. I want to go hang out with my friends on nights and weekends. You know, I don't want to have a career that I'm doing probably 15, 16 hours in a theater, just working my ass off. It's crazy. And then another thing is theater work is not it's not very stable, because when, let's say you're working on one production, and let's say that's like Beauty and the Beast or Spider-Man or something. You work on one production, let's say this production goes down in 3 years. So you had a nice stretch for 3 years, but now you're kind of unemployed until you find the next production to work for. And that's tough. Looking for theater work is tough. Most of the theater work is already pretty much reserved for union members. And as for what I hear, it's not all it's hyped up to be a part of a union. Like, I don't know, you still have to go through getting off of one production, waiting around for the next production to come around, and then you're automatically on it, or so I think. I'm under that presumption, but who knows. So I looked for my other options. I wanted to go into law enforcement. My video's probably gonna cut off, but I'll pick up on that, you know, if this does cut off. But let me see if I'm still recording here. All right, we're still in action here. All right, so law enforcement, like, I figure if you can't beat them, join them. And I'm tired of getting stopped by cops and being harassed, and it's sickening. Like, it's ridiculous that I gotta, you know, tell them, oh, I'm a college student, and you know, and then I have family in law enforcement, and they're like, all right, we'll back off. But like, why? Like, because the color of my skin? Because the way I dress? I'm very urban. I wear a Yankees fitted hat. Like, why? Like, what? Am I being profiled? Like, leave me alone. I'm a hard-working person. I work full-time. I go to college full-time at the time, you know. Let me tell you about this one time I got pulled over. I was learning how to drive stick shift, and I decided to take a trip down to my old neighborhood. It was a bad neighborhood. It was a Jamaican neighborhood in the 183rd Grand Concourse area of the Bronx, around there. And I got stopped, and 2 cops pulled me over on foot, and then it soon turned into 15 cops surrounded me, and that could be intimidating, you know. Like, who wants that? Who needs that? Like, I'm not a criminal. Like, I was complying, and these guys were going way over the top. They were like reaching. They pulled me out of the car, asked if I had anything on me that I shouldn't have or anything, and I I just let them know, like, hey, straight off the top, I have a pocket knife, and that's about it. Like, that's not illegal. And they pulled it out, they whipped it out, and they opened it, and like, they're like, nope. I'm like, what do you mean, no? Like, I got this pocket knife from a hardware store in Manhattan. Like, they're not gonna sell me an illegal pocket knife. Like, it's a utility knife, and that's what. Luckily, I said that it's a utility knife, and also the reason why I carry it is because I work in a theater, and I have to cut rope and boxes and stuff like that, and they're like, nope, we're taking you in. And so they took me in. They probably thought I was in the area for drugs. Like, that was a big drug neighborhood. And I told them, yo, I know that this is what this neighborhood is, and I see you guys got this area heavily surveilled because I see all the cameras all around the place, and I see you guys on foot. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just out here learning how to drive stick shift. I have a license, and the car owner was with me, and they were like, nope. I'm like, what? So they put me in a cell with like probably 15 other people, and this cell was probably like the size of a big walk-in closet. Like, ridiculous. I was locked up for about 20 minutes until like they learned that I had family in law enforcement. They gave me a summons to appear in court, and they let me go. Like, what? This is ridiculous. Like, why should I have to go through these things? It's stupid. So I prepared my case. I was gonna fight it without an attorney. Like, I took pictures. I went back to the shop. I took pictures of the knife behind the counter with measuring tape, and I even printed out the law. The law specifically says that if you are military personnel or somebody that works in a theater, you are allowed to carry a pocket knife. That goes to show that law enforcement doesn't know all the laws of the book. They actually book you, they actually take you in on suspicion of something, and once they take you down to the station, then they've got to look through the book to see, oh, do we have them here? Do we have them? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. So they gave me a summons to appear in court. I came with a folder, ready to plead my case, and these numbnuts, man, they wrote my information wrong on the summons, specifically because they knew that it was gonna get dismissed and I was just gonna be sent home. So luckily, that's just what happened. They spelled my name wrong, and on a technicality, when they called me up to go into the court, they looked at my ID, they looked at the summons, and they saw that the information